Two straight wins for the Dallas Cowboys as they are above 500 for the first time since Week 12 of 2019. A 2-1 Cowboys team, and they are in first place in the NFC East, all alone atop the division. And we are special edition here from the Star in Frisco. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, breaking things down and taking a look back at the Cowboys' 41-21 win in Week 3 over the Philadelphia Eagles. They have the Carolina Panthers, who at the moment are undefeated, coming into town this week. But I'm going to start things off, Isaiah. I'll start with you on this one. With the 2 wins in a row, a 2-1 record in first place, is it still too early to get really excited about this Cowboys team?
No, it's never too early to get excited. I mean, we have a good team. And for the first time, there's a reason to be excited about these guys. These guys are really good on offense, as we already knew. But the question mark coming into the season was, what was our identity going to be on defense? What was Dan Quinn going to bring? And I think we've seen early on that he's brought a lot. And the character of this team has changed, and we're seeing the fruition of it.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it's not too early to be excited about this team. Look, our division is terrible. Our division is terrible. We're going to walk away with this division. Offensively, we're keeping teams unbalanced out there. Defensively, we have that formula of bend, don't break, but take the ball away. To me, that's a formula for success. Let's go ahead and punch these tickets, man.
Man, I'm excited, man. I've been a Cowboy since I was 10, 11 years old, and it's been a long time since I've been this excited, man. Let's just keep playing good football, and fans, hey, get your tickets, baby.
Hey, you're exactly right. Hey, I didn't know we were having ticket plugs so early on in the year, but you're right. There is a buzz around Cowboys Nation, and it's because of the way that they've won those games. Against the Eagles last week, against the Chargers in Week 2, it's been complimentary football. Offensively, you knew they were going to be pretty good with the return of Dak Prescott, but the defense has been the story, and it really starts with Trayvon Diggs leading the way. 3 interceptions. He's tied for the NFL lead in that category. And Barry, really off the top, Trayvon Diggs is starting to emerge as one of the best corners in the NFL.
Without a doubt. I mean, you can tell this guy has been in the lab all offseason. And I don't know if his brother up in Buffalo is giving him tips on receivers, but he's running the routes for these guys. We all saw that interception last week in Philadelphia. He was breaking and ready for the ball before the receiver was. I don't know about you, Nate, but it seems to me like this guy's getting better and better as the weeks progress.
Just supreme confidence, man. They let him go. You can tell the secondary coach said, hey, man, if you see it, jump on it, man. And, I mean, he's talking to the quarterback. He's talking to the receiver. He's engulfed in the entire game.
He is taking advantage of the opportunities that come his way. And that's what he wanted to capitalize on coming off of last year. You heard his comments in the offseason talking about the missed chances that he had in terms of tip balls and ability to get interceptions. He's taking full advantage of those. He doesn't want to have those conversations again this offseason.
No, he's a former receiver turned into a cornerback, of course, during his time at Alabama. And, well, he looks like a receiver running the routes, like Barry was saying early on. And, well, it turns into interceptions. There's a lot of excitement around that defense, like I mentioned. And even Jerry Jones is getting in on the excitement. He wasn't talking, though, specifically about Trayvon Diggs. He had some comments about Micah Parsons, the rookie linebacker.
He's as pure as mother's milk. He just basically steps out there and gives you everything he's got, and nature gave him some skills, and boy, does he know how to use it.
And here's the reaction for Micah Parsons for that comment from Jerry Jones. I've never heard that one before. Micah, we are right there with you.
Without a doubt.
To say the least. And Jerry's paying compliments left and right, as he should, because, well, Micah Parsons has been playing exceptionally good football. Nate, when you look at this rookie, how excited are you about what his potential is on that side of the ball?
You know, I'm old enough to know about that mother's milk, man. I mean, I know it's Similac and iron and all this, but we old school, Mr. Jones. I understand. But I'm telling you, this kid is nice. He lines up. He understands his responsibilities. You know, it's one thing to line up, but it's another thing to know how to play your responsibilities and to run people down like this right here. We haven't had that type of speed right here in a long time.
In a very long time. And I'm excited about this kid. I mean, look, I know a lot of the questions are, should he be linebacker, should he be DN? But I'm sticking with him at linebacker. I mean, I think he can affect the game at a higher level there. Defensive end, you're battling with a big offensive lineman, down in and down out. You get tired, you got to rotate. Linebacker, all 3 downs, he could play, and I think that'll allow him to impact the game at a much higher level.
I like seeing guys who love to play the game.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that jumps off the screen when you watch him play. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he's physical. Yes, he has intelligence, but he loves playing the game. And that is very infectious, and that's exactly what we need when you're trying to revamp the culture of that defense.
Yeah, the culture, at least at the moment, looks like it is shifting. Behind Dan Quinn, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, it is a complete overhaul from the 2020 season and now into 2021. When we come back here on Special Edition, is Ezekiel Elliott on his way to returning to elite status?
Special Edition presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army. Doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gym 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gym 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
One of the prime matchups to keep an eye on this weekend in Cowboys versus Panthers doesn't even take place on the field. It's actually up in the booth. It's the coordinators. How about Joe Brady, the young offensive mind that was at LSU, is now at Carolina for Coach Matt Rule. And then, of course, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who has been in his bag of tricks through the first 3 weeks of the season. And you're right, just pulling out success for that Cowboys offense. Let's talk about some of the pieces, though, that Kellen Moore has to work with on the offensive side of the football. Isaiah, I start with you and Ezekiel Elliott. Why is he still so much so under the radar despite the way he's been running so far this year?
Because of his accomplice. You got Pollard, who's been playing so doggone well. There hasn't been as much attention on Zeke. The attention that has been placed on him has been people's unrealistic expectations for him. And he's being an effective player for this offense. He's toting the rock. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. He's being efficient when he gets the rock, and he's blocking in the backfield. What else do you want from this dude?
I mean, you're exactly right. Look, Zeke is still that battering ram. I think we all saw on Monday night what he was able to do to that defense. Come to the fourth quarter, nobody wanted any parts of him. Nobody wanted to talk to him or touch him anyways. And with that, I mean, that's what he brings to this offense. And you combine that with the juice, the pop that Pollard brings, I mean, it's going to be hard for defenses to prepare for these guys.
You know, y'all know how I feel about Zeke. Let's just let the season play on. And that same thing that Church just talked about, battering ram, you'll see it become more and more effective as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's a long season. Coach Mike McCarthy has talked about it, and having a dual attack like Elliott and Pollard in the backfield is going to benefit this offense tremendously as the year goes on. And it seems like that 2-1-4 connection is back in the 2-1-4 because you have Ezekiel Elliott and you have Dak Prescott back and throwing the ball around. What has made Dak so successful, Nate?
He's a mechanic. He fixes everything that goes wrong. If he need to get the ball out to his receivers, he does that. They give him the ability to kill plays and to bring in new plays. We saw last week where he stopped the guys from coming, take it easy. And he got a first down with a tight end going into the flat. So, hey, he's the mechanic. He fixes and he does everything that needs to be done offensively.
Yeah, I think he's just become one with Kellen Moore. He's kind of an extension of the coaching staff on the field. And like Nate, like you said, I mean, he's out there with the ability to, check the runs, check the passes out there. And he's putting this offense in the best opportunity to be productive. And I think we're just witnessing this guy taking the steps to become one of those elite quarterbacks in the National Football League.
I think he's really learned how to be a very effective quarterback in terms of his decision-making. He's making smart decisions. He's not forcing the ball down the field. When it needs to be thrown out of bounds, he throws it out of bounds. He's learned how to move the chains and the importance of putting the ball in your playmaker's hands. He's
been so efficient, and the yardage has come with him as well. But Isaiah, coming from a former quarterback in your own right, is that something he can continue through just the first 3 games of the year?
Absolutely. I mean, as long as Kellen Moore continues to go in his bag, I mean, they have their base offense, and he knows how to run that like the back of his hand. He knows now how to get the ball in his playmaker's hands without having to always be the guy who makes the play. He is going to continue to build confidence. His players are going to continue to build confidence in Kellen Moore, and you're just going to see this offense continue to grow.
Another guy that is building confidence in the offense is Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. He is off to a great start, had 2 touchdowns in the game against Philadelphia on Monday Night Football, his first multi-touchdown game of his career. Barry, has he taken a step to be tight end 1 in this offense?
Oh, without a doubt. Schultz is balling right now. I thought when Jarwin came back from his ACL, Schultz's playing time would go down, his stats would go down, but this guy's proven that he belongs here. He's been winning his one-on-one battles, and it seems to have a great chemistry with Dak Prescott when it comes to passing. So this guy keeps this up, he's going to be making a lot of money this offseason.
Just block a touch better, man. I mean, he reminds me, he's not as big as this guy, Mark Rivera, back in the day in the Giants, man. He's just a football-playing dude, and he loves the game, man.
He's effective. He's effective. You're seeing it right here. The fact that you're throwing screens to your tight end lets you know your confidence in him in terms of his yak yardage. The plays that they're scoping out, these aren't just plays that he's just falling into. They're literally scripting these plays up for him. And then, like to Barry's point, I'm very surprised that they're getting the ball to him instead of the boy Jarwin.
Yeah, Jarwin had the paycheck last year, had the injury, and Schultz came in, filled up with 600 yards plus 6 touchdowns. He already has 2 touchdowns, and he's on his way well over 600 yards with the pace that he is on now. When we come back here on Special Edition, Sam Darnold and the Panthers come to town. Is the number 3 overall pick from a couple years ago finally playing like the number 3 overall pick?
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
There are some vital challenges on the horizon for the Dallas Cowboys as the undefeated Carolina Panthers come to Arlington this week in Week 4 of the NFL season. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and they don't have Christian McCaffrey. Their number 1 tailback, their star tailback, MVP caliber player is out at least for the next couple of weeks after an injury on Thursday Night Football against the Texans, but they have the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL right now. They still have a stout run game, and they have probably Dak Prescott's number 1 contender right now for comeback player of the year, and that is Sam Darnold. That's where we're going to start things off. What has he done differently since his arrival in Carolina after really struggling in New York?
He found himself with a great offensive coordinator. You know, and him, Brady. Brady does a great job in terms of getting him in good situations. They are very versatile in their offerings. They're not just coming up and just running, 11 personnel. They're running 13 personnel, 12, 10. It doesn't matter. They're throwing everything out there. And the routes that they're running nice high-precision passes that are going to find a hole in these zones. So hopefully we play little man.
Yeah, it's amazing what, a little bit of coaching and a first-round talent can achieve. I mean, I, for one, thought he was a bust up there in New York, but come to find out he just needed good coaching and some weapons around him, and now he's playing mistake-free football, and he has these Panthers undefeated.
This kid can move around inside the pocket. He saved him from a lot of sacks, man. And then you bring, like my man Stanback said, you bring in a fixture like Joe Brady, man, a guy that's going to look at you and say, what do you really like, and let me build an offense around you. They gave him a strong run game, and they can say you go to two tight end. This dude is whipping that ball around.
Sam Darnold has 2 career wins of over 300-plus passing yards and a 100-plus passer rating. One of those 2 wins came against the Dallas Cowboys, Week 6 of the 2019 season. He was then on the Jets. But you mentioned some of those weapons. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, 2 very different wide receivers, but they still pose a lot of challenges to this Cowboys defense, Barry.
Yeah, they pose a lot of challenges. Robbie Anderson's a deep threat. DJ Moore's kind of do-it-all receiver right there. But I think we match up well against these guys. I mean, look, these guys, I like what our corners did against Philadelphia and those speedy receivers last week. And I know these guys pose a bigger threat than that. But with the way that we're communicating as a defense overall and how disciplined our secondary is playing, I don't see these guys being a huge threat. Let's just not sleep on them for sure.
I tell you what, man, DJ Moore reminds me of Michael Irvin. He goes in the middle, he goes deep, he goes short. But I'm going to tell you what you can get snake bit at. That Robbie Anderson, he's just going to mess around, and all of a sudden he's going deep. Keep your eyes on him. He's tough.
Yeah, both of those receivers, probably the best receivers Darnold has ever played with during his time. Really quickly, Isaiah, this defense is as good as advertised. They're number 1 ranked in passing yards allowed, total yards allowed, rushing yards allowed. You name it, they're number 1.
Yeah, Coach Snow, Mr. Al Pacino himself, over the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, he's no joke. And he has these boys playing. And you can tell when a defense is playing not only for themselves, but they're playing for each other, but they're playing for their coach. And these guys fly around. They use their athleticism. They are hitting people in their chest. We got to be ready to roll with these boys because they're going to bring it the entire 60 minutes.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, these guys are number 1 for a reason. They got ball players at every level of the defense. Burns coming off the edge. In the second level, you got Shaq Thompson out there, and they're bringing back A.J. Bouye at the corner, a veteran, savvy guy out there. We can't sleep on this defense. The offense better be ready to roll.
And they lost 1 former first-round pick in J.C. Horn this week to a broken foot, but they went and traded for another one. Got C.J. Henderson from the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 3rd-round pick and a tight end, Dan Arnold. So still first-round talent all the way across that Carolina defense. Matt Rule, Phil Snow, like you said, really doing a good job out there on the East Coast. But when we come back, can Randy Gregory have some success against a former Dallas Cowboy?
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
NFL teams coming off a Monday night game are 21-25 against teams that had a little extra time to prepare, coming from Thursday night The Cowboys are 0-4 in that sort of scenario, and they have that scenario in front of them again this week. Welcome back into Special Edition. Some tough matchups all the way across the board. Nate, I'm going to start with you. You really want to see Randy Gregory get after the passer this week. He's going to have to do so against the former Dallas Cowboy.
You know, last week he got a couple of holdings. He got into a groove. He got into a rhythm. You can take Cam up the field and take him either way. Whatever you do, do it with power, do it with speed, man. This is Randy Gregory week against Cam. I think he can have a big game.
Why is Cam Erving the guy that you really kind of decided as that matchup with Randy Gregory? I mean, he played 279 snaps a year ago with the Cowboys, but he's already up to 215. He's had a lot of experience this year.
Well, you know what? We can give him another 60 snaps, and we're going to have 2 or 3 sacks in there. Because I'm telling you, this guy cannot defend the inside move. And then if you can hit him with a few tackle end stunts, you can really rack his nerves. This guy is not as good, but I think the coaching staff has helped this kid, Cameron, a lot. But I'm telling you, if we can isolate Randy there, he should have a big day.
This will also be the first time that Randy Gregory is active in back-to-back weeks to start the year because he missed week 2 on the COVID reserve list. Now, you've got a guy who showed out in week 2 against the Los Angeles Chargers, Jaron Kearse, and what he could do against this Panthers offense.
Yeah, Jaron Kearse has done a heck of a job. He's had his hands full over the first 3 weeks of the season. In week 1, he had to battle Gronkowski. Week 2, he had to go up against Jared Cook, and then he had to handle the likes of Ertz. Now he has his hands full with a nice young rookie out of Notre Dame, Tommy Tremble, and this kid has a high motor. He's a big boy. He's solid. He's athletic. He can run routes out the wazoo, and Jaron Kearse is going to have his hands full simply because of the fact he's going to be detached. He doesn't like to line up with his hand in the ground, and this will be the first time that Kearse has faced that all year long.
So you're in the secondary. Barry's matchup is in the Cowboys secondary as well. No surprise on that one from a former safety in his own right. But you've got the Defensive Player of the Month, Trayvon Diggs, going up against a wide receiver.
Yeah, I got the best matchup on paper, I think. And like you said, we got our emerging young lockdown corner, Trayvon Diggs, versus pretty much Mr. Do-It-Everything at receiver, and that's DJ Moore for the Panthers. Now, this could be a tricky matchup for Diggs because DJ Moore, he's great off of the line of scrimmage, similar to Keenan Allen, who Diggs faced in week 2. And he's also great at the top of the route, creating separation from the DB. And not to mention, him and Sam Darnold, their chemistry is at an all-time high right now. DJ Moore leads them in targets, receptions, and receiving yards. This should be a heck of a matchup going into Sunday. Must-see TV.
So if Diggs is on DJ Moore, who do you feel like is going to cover Robbie Anderson on the other side as the big threat wide receiver?
He's the big threat wide receiver, but I'm going to have to put AB on him. I liked what AB did over there against Jalen Reagor. We know how much speed Reagor has out there, so I'm interested to see what they hold it down over there, but I feel like AB can do it. He's up for the task.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs on one side. Anthony Brown had an interception. Last week, both guys had a pick, I should say. Defensive Player of the Month, Trayvon Diggs. He's the first Cowboy with that honor since 2017 when DeMarcus Lawrence did it. He's only the 3rd Cowboys defender to ever have Defensive Player of the Month honors inside the NFC. When we come back, what is the biggest key to victory for the Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers? We're going to answer that question right here on Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Cowboys looking for win number 3 in a row and a 2-0 start at home this season as the Carolina Panthers come to AT&T Stadium and face the Cowboys at home for the first time since 2015. Nate Newton, what's your key to a Cowboy victory this week?
Derrick Brown, Daquan Jones, those are 2 big guys inside for the Panthers. We gotta control them. They're 2 big Willie mammoths that can run. We gotta control them.
Isaiah?
I think we have to match or exceed the intensity that these guys are going to bring. These boys fly around, they play hard, and they don't stop.
Yeah, defensively, we got to continue to take this ball away. I feel like that's been the difference in these past couple weeks, especially taking it away in the red zone. Defense, keep punching it out.
There you go. You heard it here first on Special Edition. For Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Week 4 of the NFL season, everybody.